What's up, gamers? I just came up with this great idea for a video game. It has portals, puzzles, and even a mean robot. Hopefully I'm the first one to do this though. Dang it!
In 2007, Valve released the first entry into one of their most successful and loved franchises, and that was Portal. At this time, Valve actually made sequels to the games, so they followed it up in 2011 with Portal 2. This was, and still is, seen as one of the best games of all time. So, let's start with Portal 1. Considering this is the one out of the games that I haven't played in the past, especially considering it's only 2 months younger than me, it'll be a whole new experience for me. Portal 1 starts you off in a glass container with a robotic voice introducing you to your surroundings, but they end up glitching out when telling you what not to do. But after that, a portal opens and you walk to your first test. It's quite simple, just involving you putting a box on a button. However, it serves as an easy way of showing you what might happen in puzzles in the future, such as with the next chamber, where you have to use timed portals to grab the box, place it on the button, and proceed. After going through a few more easy timing-based puzzles, you gain a portal gun, but this one can only shoot a blue portal. This means most of the puzzles are easy, but during this period, you'll cross an energy shooter that might kill you if you aren't careful, but if you get it into the receiver, it'll most likely move a platform or open a door. As well as this, around this time, you'll be told that at the end of testing, you'll be given a cake. With a few more glitches from the robotic voice, you'll learn about the physics in the game, which are quite fun to mess around with. But with that out of the way, you reach another timing-based puzzle, but this time it involves the energy orbs that were mentioned before. After some waiting, you gain access to the upgraded portal gun. This, as you would expect, lets you shoot both forms of portals, blue and orange. This means that the puzzles become harder from here on, due to the game giving you free reign. One of these harder chambers that I'd like to mention is 15, due to the chamber serving as a refresh on all skills learned earlier in the game. Most noticeably, the physics. It makes you find ways to fly into rooms in which you need to manipulate your portals with the walls to send the orbs to the receivers. It then makes you think on your way to another puzzle that requires you to also think quickly. The puzzle makes you send an energy orb into a receiver as usual, but there's 2 doors blocking it that require 2 timed buttons to open them in time for the orb. Overall, it's a chamber that feels really enjoyable. After that, in Chamber 16, you'll come across turrets for the first time, and as you'd expect, if you go into their line of sight, they'll kill you. But what's more interesting is that you'll find an extended wall that you can enter to reveal a den made by someone named Doug Ratman. Written on the walls are various messages, with the most interesting being, the cake is a lie, and a large tally most likely representing days. But that's probably nothing, so we can just continue into Test Chamber 17. Here, we meet the fan-favorite character, the Companion Cube. I mean, who doesn't love this thing? This chamber in general is one of my favorites due to its more open nature in solving it. Throughout this chamber, you'll have to solve multiple smaller tests with the energy orbs and receivers able to open the door. This makes it much more enjoyable due to you feeling more free in your available ways to solve it. We'll also find another den that has more vague writing, but the most consistent themes seem to be the pictures where companion cubes are taped over people's heads. Other than that, once you reach the end of the chamber, you'll be sadly forced to burn the companion cube to progress. Oh. Skipping to the final chamber, you have to solve puzzles on a moving platform. If you don't solve them in time, you'll fall into the water and die. Pretty easy considering it's the final level, but when you make it to the end, you'll find the cake was in fact a lie. So we do the usual and escape from the trap. While we make it through the inside walls of Aperture, we start to get a real sense of how big the facility is. It's also quite nice because it uses our knowledge in a strange way with more claustrophobic rooms. But after a while of traveling through the facility, we get to more of a normal office area. Upon entering a room more in the vein of the chambers, we find the rocket turret. So we have it break the glass and we move on through more of the Aperture's inside areas. At one point, we'll find ourselves in a huge room with parts of the walls that open up to reveal turrets, which served as quite a bit of stress for the first time through. But other than that, we soon get to a hallway with glass showing the grand scale of the facility, but upon walking through, we come face to face with GLaDOS. Once GLaDOS is about to deploy a surprise, a morality core falls off of them, so we activate the incinerator and throw the core into it. This ends up hurting GLaDOS, so they activate neurotoxin and rocket turrets, but you put 2 and 2 together to find out that the rockets can be used to take off more cores. This was a cool way to end the game by timing how long you can take compared to bosses in other games, but once you incinerate the other 3 cores, GLaDOS is destroyed and you hover to the surface. We finally see the outside, but something off screen drags us back into the facility. Cut to credits where we hear GLaDOS singing, which is quite funny.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success.
Other than this main campaign, we also have advanced maps and challenges. The advanced maps just boil down to harder puzzles, but they only took me around double the time I took on the original puzzles. But the challenge maps are just painful. To get all of the gold medals, you have to be pin perfect with the amount of steps you take, portals you place, and time you spend. Though due to this factor, it makes it incredibly satisfying when you do get the gold medal.
Portal 1 is a great game, but it doesn't quite hit that mark due to it leaving a lot open for a sequel.
So, Portal 2. We start off with the most difficult tutorial in gaming for journalists. In this we have to both look around and move.
Oh, I give up.
So, we wake up again to find Wheatley. He rams us through the facility while going on a rant about his job, but once we make it through, we find ourselves where we started in Portal 1. This serves as a great way to both introduce new players while refamiliarizing old players. We continue on through the old chambers till we get to where the portal gun would be, but we fall through the floor to find where the portal gun actually is. The interesting part about this room though is the use of the drawings on the walls. It both reminds us of Ratman's drawings from the first game, but also retells the events from the game as well. After another few old chambers to help us grasp the game mechanics again, we meet up with Wheatley. Where to progress, he decides to get off of his railing where we're forced to carry him over to a panel. He does get a little self-conscious though, so we turn around. But after that, he opens up a secret panel and we move on. We proceed to walk through another familiar old hallway and enter GLaDOS' chamber. This time it's destroyed, but as we pass GLaDOS, who is looking a little different other than just being destroyed, Wheatley mentions who destroyed her and that he's surprised that it was a human, but he also states that nobody knows who they are and where they went.
I wonder where they could be.
But we continue on to try to find the elevator to the surface, but Wheatley accidentally activates a lift and flips every single switch there, which ends in one of the most stressful scenes ever.
Power up initiated.
Okay, don't panic. All right, stop panicking. I can still stop this. Oh, there's a password. Okay, it's fine. I'll just hack it. Not a problem. Wait, did I do B? Did you have pen? Start writing these down.
Power up complete.
I don't. Okay. Listen. All right, new plan. Act natural. Act natural. Nothing wrong. Hello.
Oh, it's you.
GLaDOS ends up throwing Wheatley away and us down the same incinerator that we threw the cores down in the first game. Here, we find the upgraded portal gun. This section of the game is the most repetitive due to it feeling just like an expansion to the first, which is okay for a sequel, but it is quite lacking. The puzzles here are quite easy, but we get introduced to the laser, which is the fill-in for the energy orb from the first game. It can kill turrets, activate platforms, doors, and switches, and push you back. Then, at one point, the Fizzler is shown off to be at a place other than the door. It destroys cubes, turrets, and anything else that goes through it other than us. But while going through these basic puzzles, we meet up with Wheatley again, who's trying to tell us about his life story when we get introduced to the launch pad. The launch pad helps us to get places quickly, but doesn't offer much movement after the launch, and a hard light surface gets shown off which can block things and help you go places. All of these inclusions make sense as a natural progression of the first game, but they don't seem like big innovators for a sequel. Other than that, during this section you might notice that GLaDOS is just really mean to you, and not the "I'm mad that you killed me so I'm gonna kill you" kind, the "I hate you, you stupid idiot" kind. They call us adopted, fat, cruel, etc., but they say that they have a surprise for us with 2 people that we've never met before, but as GLaDOS does, it turns out to be a lie. Thanks, GLaDOS. But we soon find Wheatley, who is planning an escape for us, but we just have to hang in for a few more tests. So when Wheatley eventually comes to save us, we run through the inside parts of the facility, which is reminiscent of the escape from the first game, but with more killing attempts and obvious bait. We're about to get crushed until we make it to a lift and we get away. This part of the game is one of the more somber parts, with it relying on show don't tell, with it really showing how the facility works, and what happened the day GLaDOS attacked with the Bring Your Daughter to Work day. But other than that, we disable the neurotoxin and replace the turrets with faulty turrets, and then go to confront GLaDOS again. We then get stuck in a trap by GLaDOS, but they realize we rigged both the turrets and neurotoxins, so they have nothing to do to us. The facility then notices that due to Wheatley being there, you can transfer Wheatley into GLaDOS' body. GLaDOS obviously doesn't want this to happen, so a stalemate is detected, and we resolve this by pressing the button. This is the only part where I felt bad for GLaDOS because you can tell they're in pain. But who cares, Wheatley can send us to the surface. He then starts to show himself becoming egotistical, and it leads into one of the saddest betrayals ever.
Seriously, I can't get over how small you are, but I'm huge. Actually, why do we have to leave right now? Do you have any idea how good this feels? I did this. Tiny little Wheatley did this.
After GLaDOS calls him a moron, he puts her into a potato battery and then throws us down a hole to the very bottom of the facility. As we fall, GLaDOS gives some insight into why Wheatley was created and that he was made to be like a tumor that plagued her with bad ideas. But we hit the ground and see GLaDOS being taken by a bird. This section of the game is usually the most remembered due to the atmosphere, puzzles, and character interactions. We eventually find a huge vault door which needs 2 buttons to be pressed quickly after each other, but we open it and it has a bunch of buildup just to be revealed to be a smaller door. During this area, we first meet Cave Johnson, the founder of Aperture, who is voiced by J.K. Simmons. In these earlier clips, he sounds quite young, so you can tell this is one of the earliest areas built in the facility. But as we go on, he gets sicker and older, which is accompanied by different portraits showing his deteriorating state. You also get introduced to the repulsion gel, which bounces you up off of it, and the longer the fall, the higher you go. It also automatically bounces objects when in contact with it. Other than that, we find the bomb launchers, which we'll have to manipulate with portals to open different gel pipes. We then meet GLaDOS again, who's being tortured by a bird, but we save them. Shortly after this reunion, we come across the propulsion gel, which is used to speed us up when moving across it, as well as the conversion gel, which lets us place portals on it and whatever it's placed on. Due to it being made out of moon rocks, which are great portal conductors, this is important for later by the way, it can really make you ill. These 3 gels combined are the most memorable addition to this game because they really make you think about where you want to put them, and they increase the fun of the physics in this game. During the tests of these gels, GLaDOS comes up with the plan to tell Wheatley a paradox because they can't resist thinking about it, but GLaDOS also comes to the realization through the use of Cave Johnson's tapes that she was Cave Johnson's assistant, Catherine. We eventually find Wheatley again, who's just failing his attempts to test by using turrets that are also cubes, but with us back, he decides to use us. These tests are utterly easy, but Wheatley gets this itch to test that degrades as we go through his chambers, so he tries everything to make it go back to how it was, watching us complete it 10 times, calling us names, and finally introducing GLaDOS' tests back. These tests are probably the hardest in the game, with them taking me some time in between the normal tests in this game and the advanced maps from Portal 1. During this time we see the funnel, which when blue pushes us and when orange pulls us. We also at one point see a lengthy orange robot that waves at us, while Wheatley is moving a test towards us. Though with the itch nearly gone and him finding 2 robots that he can test instead of us, Wheatley decides to try to be subtle, and he tells us he has a surprise for us in the next few rooms. But, surprise, it's right now. So, this is the part where he kills you. We of course escape from his trap using the conversion gel. This is much like an advanced version of the escape from the last game due to it using all the tools we found throughout the game. But after coming across corrupted cores, GLaDOS finally knows how to defeat Wheatley. We don't have much time though due to the facility going to self-destruct soon. So we enter Wheatley's chamber, and with him launching bombs at us, we hide behind a conversion pipe so that he accidentally breaks it. From there, we use the conversion gel to launch his bombs back at him so that we can place corrupted cores onto him. After 3 cores, the system detects GLaDOS and allows us to plug her in for a core transfer. Though with Wheatley's only good idea ever, he trapped the stalemate button with bombs, but this only destroys the facility even more, and Wheatley could have won, but we know that Moondust is a great portal conductor.
I'm still in control, and I have no idea how to fix this place.
With a portal on the moon, Wheatley and you are sent flying into space, where Wheatley claims he can still fix all of this if you let him go. But GLaDOS already fixed it, and knocks him far into space, and saves us. After GLaDOS gets us ready to go to the surface, she deletes Catherine from her memory, which might make you think you're getting betrayed again, but GLaDOS admits we're quite hard to kill, and sends us to the surface anyway. On our way, we find turrets and think they're about to kill us, but they start singing. This leads to a nice last sequence with a turret opera.
Portal 2 is amazing and a really fun puzzle game at that, but I'm not quite done with it because I still have the co-op mode to play, but I don't have anybody to play it with.
I came as soon as I heard. Are you looking for someone to play Portal 2 with? I'm right, I'm that guy. I love you. I love you. I love Portal 2.
Well, I am in the market.
That is absolutely great. Is this your chair? Oh, I don't care. It's mine now.
Great, then let's start with the first course.
This first course is all around team building, so it makes these 5 chambers about just getting on buttons, passing cubes around, and placing portals for each other. This can just make the test either super easy with a good teammate, or absolutely horrible with a bad one. But our final test here and for all chambers is to grab a disc and insert it into a tray, which reveals some blueprints for GLaDOS.
Huh, that was surprisingly easy.
Well, of course it would be easy with the Portal Pro here. Oh, and I smell like one. I am that pro.
Okay.
The second course, it's all about the mobility and the physics in the game. Throughout these tests, we need to launch ourselves across places using the aerial plates from the main story, and quickly press buttons together to open a door. But the final test this time is actually quite hard due to us needing to launch and hit a button, then time it correctly so that we can launch and grab the laser cube. Then someone has to use it to stop the fan while the other launches through the fan to the final room. Then by placing portals, we have to stop the fan permanently so the other person can get across. Then we flip the switch at the same time and get the disc.
We could have done it way faster if we did it my way, but we did it your way. And you know what it is? It's my way or the highway.
Well, your way wasn't getting us anywhere.
The next course uses the hard light surface, which helps show off how good puzzles can be with them. The goal on most of these courses is to have both people place portals to help move the hard light surface to other places. Pretty easy, right? But not when you have someone who keeps replacing your portals to make you fall and lose all your progress.
Dude! See? Okay, now you place... Dude! You're really screwing it up, okay? Grab it. Yes. Oops.
Then, this gets even harder when the cube is introduced because if you drop it into the water, you have to go all the way back to get it.
We've been at this course for 2 hours. Can you just stop dropping the cube in the water?
But it makes a cool sound, man. It makes that sound, and it's so cool, bro. You know, I can't stop. It's such a good sound. It's taunting me. You know what it is. You get happy every time as well.
Just stop dropping the cube into the water, that way we can move on.
Wow, you are so selfish. You're looking like the Grinch right now. You're going just like, stealing all these kids' Christmas.
Course 4 is even worse than the last because we have the funnels now, and if you remember, they can both push and pull you towards things. But now your partner controls that, so it means they either don't let you go where you need to go, or just drop you by moving their portals. Also, the cube is back, so that's going to be more of a hassle again. Yay! Just trust me, it is so annoying. Just look at this.
Light blue there. And then as I fly through it... No, stop, please, stop, I'm tired, I don't want to. Stop.
So you can see how it can be super annoying, but when you reach the final course, it is just painful even if you are working together because you have to block turrets using the hard light surface while your partner moves the funnel, which means you both need to think fast.
Alright, we're at the final course now. Can you just stop messing around?
I can't believe you, man. You used to be my favorite. Now you're like the Grinch. You stole my Christmas. I can't drop cubes. I can't move the goo. I can't do anything. You're just like, stop throwing! I'm mad!
As you would expect with this being the final course, it is the hardest. This time we have the mobility gels, so we need to somehow use both of our portals to get the gels into specific places. This just makes the test frustratingly hard rather than confusing, because it takes forever to figure out the solution. Then, the final test is even worse because it is a gauntlet using both the funnels and gels. So it took us a while on the first section, then the second section is so confusing if you don't realize you can place a portal on the ground. But once we do it, we flip the switch and open the huge vault door. And with such a big buildup, we find out it's just so GLaDOS can get more humans to test on them.
Seriously, was that so hard?
So bad, you ruined everything. So, I'm gonna take your chair. I will see you later, loser. Oh. Sayonara.
What? You can't do that. Who even are you?
My name is Mache, Yannus, and this chair is mine. You see? Right there. That's mine. It has my name on it.
Oh, I can't argue with that, but get out of here. Portal 1 and 2 are amazing games, and while Portal 1 seems more like a product of its time, Portal 2 is long-lasting and I can see why it gets so much praise. And the co-op is good too. But it did end up with my chair being stolen. But hey, I stole his chair to get him back, so